Let's talk about Southern Utah, and then we're going to talk about the ACC expansion
of Southern Utah and what to expect.
So last week they got beat by Arizona State 24-21. It was a weird scenario. They were down there in Tempe. It was a late game. It was Thursday. Haboob came in, which is this giant desert, sand, wind, hurricane
is that what that thing was?
Dry land.
Remember the Mission Impossible that was in like Abu Dhabi? Was that a Haboob that came in?
Okay. And I had to say that word on the news in Vegas.
You said
for
Haboob?
years, and I didn't feel right about it one time. But
I feel like you need to wash your mouth out with soap after you say Haboob.
They go into halftime and they stay in there for 2.5 hours, and then they come out and play the second half.
Yeah.
So that's like a 6.5 hour game. Anyway, they held tough in the second half, and we saw a few things that we're going to see again on Saturday.
You know, and they blocked a punt, and they picked it up and ran it back for a touchdown. That's how that score got to 21-24. So Southern Utah, I thought it was a pretty impressive outing. They had 226 yards of total offense. So they really, when you think about it, they scored 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns was a defensive touchdown, 139 passing, 87 running. They averaged 4.6 yards of play. They were 5 of 13 on third downs. And their time of possession was 30 minutes and 48 seconds. Arizona State just with 29 minutes and 12 seconds. So they possessed the ball more than Arizona State, who should have been the more physical and more dominant team. Arizona State moved the ball. They had 371 yards. So there's your standard. BYU's offense should be at least as good as Arizona State's offense this Saturday, right? So there's a target. To me, then BYU's got to get at 375 or more, or I'm going to be disappointed. Is that putting too much pressure on them?
No.
They had 236 passing and 135 rushing. This is a Southern Utah team. They had to rebuild that secondary this year. And so you would think the BYU should be able to throw the football on them where they don't have as much experience back there. They got a senior quarterback in Justin Miller. Hey, you know what I love about him? Utah kid, Snow College kid.
Yeah.
Do you know he's playing there? He was 8 of 17 for 123 yards and 1 touchdown. He took care of the ball, didn't have any interceptions. They've got a solid running back in Braden Whistler. He's a U of U transfer. He's a redshirt sophomore. He had 15 carries for 45 yards. A little rough going against Arizona State, just averaged 3 yards a carry. And they have a good group of wide receivers. Zach Mitchell led them this last week with 4 receptions for 52 yards and a touchdown. But I would say the strength, they've got veterans on offense at the skill positions. Defensively, they're trying to get this secondary to develop. So BYU should maybe get some more chunk plays and intermediate throws this week than they did this last week, because that was the strength of Sam Houston. They had a big-time veteran secondary who covered really, really well. But I agree with Kalani when he said that this is a team that's physical and scraps and plays hard and well coached. So this will be a fun game. And I say this over and over again. If you're going to play an FCS opponent, which play the teams in state, play Utah Tech, play Southern Utah, play Weber State. Let's keep the money in the state. Between this Arizona State and the BYU game, Southern Utah is going to add just under $1 million to their coffers to help support their athletic program. And I like that the big schools in the state, Utah and BYU, and I think Utah should do the same. And I think Utah State should do the same. If you're going to play an FCS opponent, let's keep it in the state, and let's keep the money here in the state of Utah.
I'm thinking, after listening to what you just said, 42-14.
That's your score?
Thinking. And it should be that. It should be that. I don't know if it will, but it should be that.
I'm just saying 35 or higher, and I'm okay with the offense in this one.